Okay.
I bet I think you know this story. You don't. The real one is much more gory. The phony one, the one you know was cooked up years and years ago, sound made all soft and sappy, just to keep the children happy. Mind you, they got the first bit right, the bit where in the dead of night the ugly sisters Jude and all departed for the palace ball, while darling little Cinderella was locked up in a slimy cellar. The rats who wanted things to eat began to nibble at her feet. She bellowed, "Help, and let me out!" The magic fairy heard her shout. Then all at once in a blaze of light the magic fairy held in sight and said, "My dear, are you all right?" "All right," cried Cindy. "Can't you see? I feel as rotten as can be." She beat her fist against the wall and bellowed, "Get me to the ball. There is a disco at the palace. The rest have gone and I am jealous. I want a dress, I want a coat, 2 earrings and a diamond brooch, and silver slippers, 2 of those, and nice big nylon pantyhose. Then up like that I'll guarantee the handsome prince will fall for me." The fairy said, "Hang on, chick." She gave her wand a mighty flick, and really, in no time at all, Cindy was at the palace ball. It made the ugly sisters wince to see her dancing with the prince. She held him very tight and pressed herself against his manly chest. The prince's self was turned to pallor. All he could do was gasp and gulp. Then time struck and Cindy cried, "Heck, I got to run to save my neck." The prince cried, "No, allow, alas." He grabbed her dress to hold her back. To hold her back. Cindy cried, "Let me go." The dress was ripped from head to toe. She ran out in her underwear and lost one slipper on the step. The prince was on it like a dart. The prince was on it like a dart. He pressed it to his pounding heart. "Girl who fits the slipper," he cried, "tomorrow morning should be my bride." Then one of the sisters, the one whose face was blotched with blisters, went and grabbed the dainty flue and quickly flushed it down the loo. Then calmly put the slipper from her own left foot. Aha, you see, the plot grows thicker, and Cindy's luck starts looking sicker. The next morning, the prince went charging down to knock on every door in town, but all in vain. Now came the ugly sisters go. He cried no, but she screamed, "Yes, it fits, hooray! So now you got to marry me." The prince was white from ear to ear. He bellowed, "Let me out of here." "Oh no, you don't, you made a vow. There's no way you can back out now." "Off with her head," the prince roared back, and chopped it off with one big whack. This pleased the prince. He smiled and said, "She's prettier without her head." Then came sister number 2, who said, "Now I will try the shoe." "Try that instead," the prince roared back, and swung his trusty sword, and smack, her head went crashing to the ground. It bounced a bit and rolled around. In the kitchen's peeling spot, Cinderella heard the thud of bouncing heads upon the floor and poked her own head round the door. "What's all the racket?" Cindy cried. "Mind your own biz," the prince replied. Poor Cindy's heart was torn to shreds. My prince, she thought, he chops off heads. How could I marry anyone who does that sort of thing for fun? Off with her head. Off with her nut. Off with her nut. Then all at once, in a blaze of light, the magic fairy held in sight. Her wand went swoosh and swish, and said, "Come, Cindy, make a wish." Wish anything and have no doubt, and I will make it come about. O kind fairy, this time I should be more wary. No more princes, no more money. I've had my taste of honey. I'm wishing for a decent man. They're hard to find, you think you can? And in a minute Cinderella was married to a lovely fellow. A simple jam maker by trade, who sold good homemade marmalade. Their house was filled with smiles and laughter, and they were happy ever after. Should I say what?
Yeah.
Just stop it, just stop it, just.
Start it.
Hang on, stop it. Should I say what it's called and who it's written by?
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, go.
Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds that sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Hello, Ben and Freddie, and Barney and Rufus, and Martha, and Will and Sally, and Tom and Charlie, and Grandma and Gran, and every single billion people in England. On the weekend, I went to Dolavira and I found this.
What is Dolavira?
It's a place, an old place,
How old?
5,000 years old.
Is it older than ancient Greece?
Yes,
Is it older than ancient Rome?
yes.
Is it older than ancient Egypt?
Same time.
About the same time. It's, what is it? It's one of the oldest
Civilizations on Earth.
on Earth. And what did you find when you were there?
Petrified wood.
And is that 5,000 years old then?
No, it's 170 million years old.
And what does why is it so scared? Why is it so petrified?
It's wood that's turned into rock, see?
So that just looks like an ordinary piece of rock, but that was actually once a piece of wood, and now it's like rock.
Bye, Ben and Freddie.